Now, for many of you that have a career, or maybe you have just a day job or maybe a side hustle job, and maybe you work on a team, or maybe you're at an organization where there's many people that are there, or maybe it's a team that's under 50. The key thing that I want to tell you is something that my mentor said once, and many of you have heard it here, and it's by Dr. Larry Acosta, that said the following: we suffer in isolation, but we heal in community. I want you to think about that, and I want to share today with you why an ERG at the workplace is probably the unlock that you're looking for today. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Hola, ¿qué tal, mi gente? This is Noan El Boricua, host of Fuel Pasión podcast, where we're always really thinking about how do we fuel ourselves when it comes to la cultura, how do we grow in our faith, y como siempre, like always, how do we make those conexiones, the connections, in order to be able to level up in anything that we are really passionate about. Now, with that being said, I do want to give a full-on disclaimer, because it's just something that I want to make sure loud and clear so y'all know. What you guys think about my Puerto Rico hat? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to represent. This is a really big shout out to just the island, and really specifically in Nueva York, where they're going to be celebrating the Puerto Rican parade, where it's just toda nuestra gente just coming together and really celebrating everything that is relevant when we think about cultura, when we think about arts and music and business, everything under the sun, where we will be waving la bandera nuestra, that red, white, and blue, and it's just something that's really dope, and just so exciting. So wanted to give that real quick. Gotta give a shout out to all that's going on in that. The other thing is the disclaimer that I want to give. These are solely my observations and my opinions on the following of what I want to share with you. Now, I opened up with understanding the importance of like being in community. How many of you have ever went and actually applied for a job, you landed the job of your dreams, you're in the community, and all of a sudden you feel like, yo, I'm not really connected, or maybe I just don't identify with many of my colleagues. Where is that help? What does that look like? Now, I will tell you this, the beauty about many organizations, and again, I give that disclaimer too, because maybe not all companies offer this, but it's what's called an ERG, or in business terms, because every time I kind of talk about this, a lot of my friends and colleagues kind of say, yo, what's an ERG? And really what an ERG is, an employee relationship groups. Now, what's that definition in particular when we think about this? Well, first of all, know that it is a voluntary group, or groups, really depending on the workplace that you're at. And what that ERG is really understanding the importance of like resources and opportunities that are given to many different groups. Now, I will give you an example, right? Think about high school, and maybe you were part of the Black Student Union. Maybe you were part of the Latinos Club. I remember, when I was at community college at El Camino College here in Torrance, California, I remember I had the chance to be a part. Just one year, I participated about what the Latino Club is, because although I'm in a very diverse city, I still felt at the time, this is way back, when I was in college, I still felt like there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me, and I wanted to just be a part of a group that could understand me, know where I'm coming from, and I'm really grateful, because shout out to just not El Camino, but really all community colleges, as well as all state and universities that really understand the importance of these relationship groups. And when we think about now in the workplace, now it's the employee relationship groups. And I think when we think about this, it's these groups that are led to really be creative, how to be supportive in moments of like different times of the year. And I'll give you an example, just because I identify as a Latino. There's a lot of people call it Hispanic Heritage Month, Latino Heritage Month. Like, though, that's something that's really important, where an ERG comes into play and really takes partnerships in how to, one, build out a budget, understand what the big mission and vision is for the month, and then what kind of programming will we do, right? Do we do a panel? Do we do a celebratory concert? Or do we have certain foods that celebrate certain mom and pop restaurants? Many of these ideas, and I know that many of you probably already a part of one, you know what those ideas are, and you know what those, and I would love to know, what's like one creative outlet you've done if you've had the chance to be a part of an ERG? You'll shoot it in the comments. I would love to know what that is. And if you're listening to this, just head on over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and I want to know as well. That'd be amazing. Now, ERGs for me really have served more like a catalyst. It has served as a networking opportunity and growth, but it's also served for personal growth as well. And I think ERGs, as I'm like reading some of my notes, because I have a lot to share with y'all. They really offer really unique spaces for personal and professional growth. Now, why am I telling you all this? I tell you this because at my job, we recently just wrapped up our fiscal year at the end of May at the time of this recording, and it's June of 2023. So for many companies, it's like a brand new fiscal year. And for many companies that have ERGs, you have to look back and celebrate. Tú sabes, uno tiene que celebrar. And you also start thinking about what the future is. But for the sake of this video, I want to share with you just 3 things for me. And I hope please follow me till the end of this video. What are some 3 dope things for me that I've learned ever since I volunteered originally as a core volunteer, and now I've had the opportunity to be a part of our leadership team here at my job when it comes to an ERG. And I think for me, one of the first things we need to understand that I'll probably throw up some photos while I'm talking, because this past year was really dope to have the opportunity to participate in so many amazing events, to have the opportunity to be a part of a lot of Zoom calls for a lot of universities. I want to give a shout out to all the Cal State schools. You guys are amazing, especially the business schools, when you guys are investing within our Latin community specifically, right? So again, I'm thinking about my network, the ERG. Circle of Change also is an amazing like first generational college students program where it's so diverse, it's so inclusive of many different backgrounds, right? But there's various different networks, right? I'm gonna get to the first point. Number 1, ERGs is all about comunidad. Now, what do I mean by that? It's an ERG that brings people together to a common background that allows them to have this identity, una identidad, and something that we just all click together. And I think it's really important because of the fact that when you participate, yes, you're professionally doing your day job, but there are those moments of downtime. I hope you're not jumping on YouTube maybe, or, no, like downtime, go for it. But if you're in the middle of your work, you do your work. But then there's free time, right? And there's moments maybe where you're saying, hey, today's a day where I got all my emails squared away. I had my meetings. Today's something personal growth for me. And for many of you, it might be the fact of just saying, yo, I want to connect with someone. I want to be able to understand what the benefits are of an ERG. And I'm going to tell you, it's all about comunidad. Look, I've met some dope, amazing people, that I didn't even know were at my workplace. Amazing, talented individuals that I get a chance to be able to invest in our ERG, to be able to, really grow it and really see where it's going to go in this next year. And when I look back, I think about a really great outing that we went to called Latitude. Many of you know it. I kind of shared it on a video a couple months back during Latino Heritage Month. But I think the biggest thing for me was just the connections. And let me tell you, the beauty that I saw in the pandemic from a Zoom meeting lens, I got to give a shout out to El Capitan, the man himself, Cisco Estrada in the East Coast in Nueva York. We met each other on Zoom because of an ERG, because of many moments that we had a chance to be able to share, to be able to support our brothers and sisters in a lot of different areas within the company. And then the day came that we met in person. And I remember some of my colleagues were laughing because they thought we met before in person, but we didn't. But here's the beauty of an ERG. Again, I go to point number 1. It was the community. It was the networking. It was the common interest that we have that allows us to really, one, get sparked and really, AKA fuel our passion in the work that we do. But more importantly, go and up click and really now make an impact and give back to our community. Número 2. Now, The second thing that I would love to share that I think is really dope about an ERG is that there's a lot of great moments around mentoring and professional development. And I think for me, when we think about an ERG, they do offer what we call workshops. Some even call it like seminars. Sometimes depending on where you're working at, there may be a guest speaker and you get to jump on if it's hybrid, or maybe it's only virtual, maybe it's only in person, right? But the whole point is that they give you an opportunity to really understand the beauty of the programming that is out there. And I think for me, one of the things that in the job that I do as a recruiter is that I had a chance to really understand the importance of like being a recruiter and what I do as a subject matter expert. How do I lean into other peers that maybe identify within the Latin community? So for the sake of the example, we're gonna talk about, you know, our Latin community. Who else can I speak to that maybe is a designer, maybe they work in HR, or maybe they're, you know, into computer science, and we can be able to get a panel together for then some of our other peers that might be mapping out their career and saying, okay, where do I see myself in the next year, 2 to 3, 5 years, and who are the people that I can connect with? And I like stutter right there because that is so important, man. Like, I don't think we understand the importance of like really getting together and understanding the importance of like programming. And for some companies, I've seen that there's some amazing mentorship groups, right? So again, I love to read it in LinkedIn. If you're not plugged in on LinkedIn, you need to check it out. Create yourself a space, because I think reading about a lot of mentorship programs and the successes that companies bring to the table is the whole reason why there are ERGs in the first place. And I think for us, the more that we can lean into this, man, maybe you need to work on your resume. Maybe you need to understand how to better brand yourself and how do you make a connection. That's the beauty of an ERG, that they give you these networking opportunities. And look, I had the chance to do that. We had a chance to meet an amazing woman, an amazing Latina. That was the first, Mexican woman that was actually in space. Es Katia, we call her Kat, right? And man, an amazing following on social media, an amazing impact that she's made for her country, la país de ella, que es Mexico. And I think for me, like, that was so inspiring to me. And let me tell you what's even more inspiring is that we had colleagues that identify as Latinas, and these Latinas were in awe. These Latinas were all about empowering each other. And I thought that was really dope. And to me, I keep thinking about like, this is the whole purpose of ERGs. Look, I'm new to this. And you probably say, like, new to what? No, I'm new to the ERGs. Like, this is something that, in full transparency, I had a chance to go to what's called ASER, the Hispanic Association of Corporate Responsibility. And in there, at my job, we call them networks. But in general, that's why the business term ERG, it was something that I kept hearing and I just did not know. And I'm grateful for my colleagues because, I would ask them like, why do they keep saying ERG? So I share that because I've only been in the corporate world for 5 years. I've worked from a retail career that has been amazing. And I think the beauty of my job is that we also extend our ERGs to all of our employees. And I think for me, it's important that if you've had the opportunity to grow at your company where you're at, my hope is that maybe you get the chance and maybe you find the passion to be able to invest in an ERG, and that you can hopefully be able to inspire other upcoming young professionals or professionals. I'm not a young professional. I'm just a professional that is new to the game, right? And because I'm physically saying my age, right? Like I'm not a young professional. I'm kind of tenured in age, but I'm new to the role that I've been in. And I'm grateful because ERGs really give you that opportunity when we think about workshops that lead to networking, my first point, which then is workshops and mentorship programs. And the final thing I just want to share with you guys of why I think an ERG is dope and why I look back at this year and really grateful for the ERG that I'm a part of, is the following. When you think about like advocacy, policies, or maybe when you think about initiatives that should be able to promote some change in the workplace, that's the last point that I wanted to share with you. I think companies that understand the importance of ERGs are companies that really understand the support and advocacy of all people. And I think for me, as I've been learning more about ERGs and the impact that it can make at a company, one of the biggest things that I want to close with is that they are really there to advocate and to really apoyar or support, right, in Spanish, apoyar, the individual. And my hope is, as I'm closing, that you get a chance to be able to be a part of an ERG. My hope is that if you are part of an ERG, the beauty of an ERG is that it allows you to have a lot of critical experience that maybe your current day job doesn't allow you to have. And maybe you have a passion and that's why you're working and you're striving to get to a certain place. But that's why, again, it's a voluntary thing. It is up to you and me if we choose to be a part of an ERG. And I think for me, my hope is that as you're in the middle of the calendar year and maybe in the beginning of a fiscal year from a business context, my hope is maybe that you consider an ERG. And I would love to know what that ERG is. My hope, I know that a friend of mine, a colleague that was part of an ERG, they're in a certain role today to be a part of not to be a part, but to be in a whole nother country. Not here, local or in the States, but because of like the trajectory, of course, of their day job and them investing in their own career, a part of that investment in their personal development was identifying themselves to be a part of an ERG that they really resonated with. And that ERG got them to do some critical experience that they eventually, when the day came, the opportunity to be able to apply to a certain role that was actually in another country, they shot their shot, right? They shot their shot. I know usually when we say it the other way, shoot your shot. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. And they landed the job. That's the beauty, and I think the greatest example that I can give you of an ERG. And again, full disclosure, right? It just depends on your company. It really just depends on its policies as well. But if that's something that's really important to you, I hope in sharing some photos and kind of sharing what an ERG, and the reason why I present this video and this episode is because I've had so many questions around it, because I always talk about like ERG or networking or being part of something. And many times people say, yo, I don't even know where to start. And look, hit up your HR when you're interviewing, or if you're going to be looking into resources available, ask for it, see if it's out there. And if it's not, there's other ways that you can make a community, and that's outside of the workplace. And I think that's where, like, I was invited to be a part of a Latino professional group on LinkedIn. I was invited as well on a Facebook group. And I think that to me is that if my company didn't offer an ERG, I know that I can find it elsewhere through social media, and really leaning into that and seeing what kind of networking, what kind of growth that I can find from there. And then who knows, lean in back to my job and say, hey man, I think we really need this. I think a lot of times we want to wait, or a lot of times we're just like this with the blinds, but I say, yo, open them up, man. See the potential that you have. And more importantly, maybe you're new at a job, maybe you're new to a city, new to a state, or new to a country. Lean into an ERG if available to you. And if not, lean into social media. I would recommend LinkedIn, because you can really go on there and really find the niche group that you're looking for. But at the end of the day, it's all about conexiones. This is why this podcast has the last pillar that we believe in. It's conexiones, because that's what it's about. When we're trying to make impact, when we're trying to make progress, when we want to see growth, a big part of that is being connected. So mi pregunta es, are you connected? And if not, what's holding you back? Ladies and gentlemen, muchas gracias como siempre, like always, for listening, for checking us out on YouTube or on Instagram, wherever this lands for you. And again, I hope that you can constantly immerse yourself dentro de la cultura. I hope you can grow in your faith, y como siempre, make those conexiones. I just talked about it. And also check us out on fuelpasionpodcast.com. There you could find a little bit about me and why I started this whole thing. You can also look at some past episodes, and maybe you want to reach out, maybe you want to contact me. I'm always excited to bring somebody on, as well as also to be on someone else's podcast or platform. So if that's something that you would love to do, let me know. And yeah, that's kind of what I have for you guys. Oye, Que sigan pa'lante, mi gente. Keep going forward. And I hope you guys really have an amazing second half of the year. This is your opportunity to recalibrate, to really assess, and to really lean in and lean into the people that you know to get you to that next level. Oye, como dice mi abuelita, que Dios te bendiga.